What do you do when life takes everything from you? When the people you trusted walk away? When the money runs out? When your body breaks? And when your children are looking at you, waiting for strength you are no longer sure you have? Today, I want to tell you a story. It is not a story about fame. It is not a story about overnight success. It is a story about a mother who lost almost everything and still refused to give up. Her name was Emily Carter. She was 36 years old, a quiet woman with gentle eyes and tired hands. She had 2 children. Her daughter, Lily, was 12. Her son, Noah, had just turned 8. They were her whole world. Emily had once believed in a simple dream, a small home, a steady life, a family that stayed together. But life had different plans. She lost her mother when she was only 10 years old. Her father passed away before she turned 20. Grief became something she learned to carry quietly. Then, after 13 years of marriage, her husband left. No warning, no long discussion, just a short sentence that shattered everything. "I'm not happy anymore." He packed his things, he closed the door, and he never came back. No calls, no child support, no explanations. It was as if he had erased them from his life. From that moment on, Emily stood alone. No parents, no siblings nearby, no savings worth mentioning. Just a small 2-bedroom apartment in a quiet neighborhood on the edge of town, and 2 children who depended on her for everything. Every month felt like a mountain she had to climb. Rent, groceries, school supplies, electricity bills. She did not have a college degree. She had never finished her education. Her options were limited. But she had something stronger than a degree. She had determination. During the day, Emily worked as a home health aide. She visited elderly patients who could no longer care for themselves. She helped them bathe. She prepared their meals. She gave them their medication. She listened to their stories. Some of them were kind. Some were lonely. Some were impatient. But Emily treated them all with dignity. In the evenings, she cleaned offices and private homes. She carried a small bucket, a stack of rags and bottles of cleaning solution. She scrubbed floors until her back ached. She wiped windows long after the sun had disappeared. She cleaned bathrooms no one else wanted to touch. There were nights she came home past midnight. Sometimes clients delayed payment. Sometimes they complained unfairly. Once, a homeowner refused to pay her at all. Emily swallowed her pride and kept going. She worked when she was exhausted. She worked when she had a fever. She worked when her hands trembled from fatigue. And every night before she lay down, she would walk quietly into her children's room. She would watch them sleep. She would brush Lily's hair away from her forehead. She would hold Noah's small hand, and she would whisper, "I promise you, it will get better." She did not know how, but she believed it had to. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late autumn. The air was cold and sharp. A heavy rainstorm had begun just as Emily finished her evening shift. She had picked up Lily and Noah from a neighbor's house. They were walking home together, huddled under a thin umbrella that barely protected them from the wind. The streets were nearly empty. Noah shivered. "Mom, I'm freezing," he said softly. Emily pulled off her scarf and wrapped it around him. "We're almost home," she said gently. "Just a few more minutes." The rain grew heavier. Headlights suddenly appeared at the end of the street. Too bright, too fast. There was a sharp screech of tires, a deafening crash, and then silence. When Emily opened her eyes, she was staring at a white ceiling. The air smelled like antiseptic. Machines beeped steadily beside her. Her leg felt like it was on fire. Her head throbbed. She tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Only one thought filled her mind: her children. "Lily, Noah," she whispered. A nurse hurried over and touched her shoulder. "They're safe," the nurse said softly. "They're right here." Tears slid down Emily's face. Moments later, Lily and Noah rushed into the room, their eyes red from crying. "Mom," they sobbed, wrapping their arms around her. Emily held them as tightly as she could. She had never been so grateful in her life. But relief did not last long. The doctor came in with a serious expression. "You have a severe fracture in your leg," he explained. "You'll need surgery, and after that, several months of rest." Rest. The word felt like a threat. "How am I supposed to rest?" Emily asked weakly. "I have to work." The doctor's silence answered her. As if that were not enough, another problem surfaced. During the accident, Emily had been thrown into the front window of a small boutique store. The glass display had shattered. The store owner was demanding compensation for the damage, nearly $12,000. Emily felt the world close in around her. She had no income, no savings. Medical bills were already piling up, and now this. Her cleaning equipment, which she had borrowed from a friend, had been destroyed in the accident. Everything she had built, fragile as it was, collapsed in a single night. She broke down in that hospital room. She covered her face with her hands and sobbed. Lily cried beside her. Noah clung to the edge of the bed. "I'm sorry," Emily whispered through tears. "I'm so sorry." For the first time in years, she felt completely defeated. But sometimes, when you reach the end of your strength, something unexpected begins. A neighbor had shared Emily's story on social media, a simple post, a photo of a tired mother in a hospital bed, 2 frightened children beside her. The message was honest, no drama, just the truth. Within hours, strangers began to respond. Comments of encouragement, small donations, messages that said, "You're not alone." Emily did not even know at first. Then a nurse walked into her room holding a phone. "Have you seen this?" she asked. Emily shook her head. The nurse showed her the post. Hundreds of shares, thousands of views, people from different cities, even different states were sending help. $10, $20, $50. It was not just money. It was hope. Then one afternoon, Emily received a call. A calm, steady voice spoke on the other end. "My name is Daniel Brooks," the man said. "I heard about your situation. I would like to meet you." Emily hesitated. She had learned to be cautious. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Because I can help," he replied. 2 days later, Daniel arrived at the hospital. He was in his early 30s, well-dressed but simple. There was no arrogance in his posture. He brought warm jackets for Lily and Noah, a small stuffed bear for Noah, a notebook and colored pens for Lily. He sat beside Emily's bed. "You don't know me," he said gently, "but I know what it feels like to struggle. My mother raised me alone too." Emily looked at him, unsure what to say. "Why would you help a stranger?" she asked. Daniel smiled softly. "Because someone once helped us, and once..." Over the next week, Daniel and a small group from his community foundation did something extraordinary. They paid for Emily's surgery. They covered her hospital bills. They negotiated with the store owner and settled the damages. Emily owed nothing, but Daniel was not finished. After she was discharged, he drove her and the children to a modest house in a quiet neighborhood. Fresh paint, a small garden in the front, sunlight pouring through wide windows. "This is temporary housing," Daniel explained. "Rent-free for a year. You can focus on healing." Emily stood in the doorway, unable to move. "For us," she whispered. "For you," he said. "You deserve a fresh start." Lily ran from room to room, laughing for the first time in weeks. Noah pressed his face against the window and grinned. Emily sank to her knees and cried, not from despair, from gratitude. Months passed. Physical therapy was slow and painful. There were days Emily wanted to give up, but she remembered the promises she had whispered at night. She began to think about the future again. One afternoon, Daniel asked her, if money and fear were not a problem, what would you do? Emily hesitated. I've always wanted to open a small bakery, she admitted. My mother used to bake. It's the only thing that ever made me feel peaceful. Daniel nodded. Then let's start there. With guidance, small funding, and relentless effort, Emily began planning. She took online business classes. She practiced recipes. She worked from her temporary kitchen, perfecting every detail. 6 months later, a small storefront opened downtown. Lily's Oven, the sign read. The first day, only a handful of customers came, but they returned and they brought friends. Emily stood behind the counter with flour on her apron and tears in her eyes. She was no longer surviving, she was building. She never forgot the night of the accident. She never forgot the strangers who gave $10 when they did not have to. She never forgot Daniel's steady voice saying, "Because I can." Years later, Emily began mentoring other single parents. She donated bread to shelters. She quietly paid utility bills for families in crisis. Kindness had changed her life, and she chose to pass it forward. If you are listening to this right now, and you feel abandoned, and you feel broken, and you feel like you have nothing left, please remember Emily. She lost her parents. She lost her marriage. She lost her health. She lost her income. But she did not lose her heart. And sometimes that is the one thing life cannot take from you. You never know who is watching your struggle. You never know who may decide to help. You never know how close you are to a turning point. So hold on. Work with what you have. Love the people beside you, and do not let bitterness close your heart, because kindness still exists, and hope can arrive when you least expect it. If this story touched you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need encouragement, and subscribe for more true stories that remind us what really matters. Thank you for spending your time here. May your heart stay strong. May your home be filled with peace. And may you never forget that even in the darkest night, light is closer than you think.